Hey there, everybody. I'm CCB Dolan here with CCB Frozzy, bringing you match 1 of Day 2 of the NEO2 2. We have Incursion Network in red versus Parental Advisory in blue. Why don't you tell us a little bit about these setups?
So we've just been talking about how the Dominics have been banned in this match, and at the beginning of the camera shot there, you guys saw a Navy Dominics for Parental Advisory. They've decided to go with the Navy Dominics to get around the ban. It's something we saw a lot of in the last Alliance tournament. A lot of teams tried to use the Navy Dominics to get around that ban. It didn't usually work out very well for them, so we'll see how it does for Parental Advisory. They've brought in Navy Dominics, EOS, Aneros, Ishtar, Mollis, Punisher, 2 Punishers, and a Heron. Then ISN has brought a bit of a more standard drone setup, EOS and Eros, 2 Ishtars, Hyena, and 3 Maledictions.
Yep, and we're going to have to see here the fight of the support wings. It's going to be really difficult unless they want to go for it early to clear that Navy Dominics off. Navy already shots being fired, yeah. All that sentry damage on the Oneros. We're going to have to see if he can hold. That sentry damage is going to be incredibly well applied on that Oneros as he tries to get out of range here.
So we have Curators and Guards dropped from both sides. They both came in with their drone damage dealers at max range, so they're both sitting like 70 kilometers away from each other or so. And they immediately dropped the drones and started applying damage. That Aneros for Parental Advisory of Ryo Chaos, he is starting to go down. He's not going down too quickly, but there you go. The web has broken off him. They need to keep him tackled to be able to apply that damage. Otherwise, he'll just be able to move out of the drone range.
But they have those Maledictions on top of him. Luckily, they have their support wing also taking those Maledictions down right now as we speak, but they're all getting reps from the not sufficiently damped Incursion Network on Oneros.
As that Ryo Chaos is continuing to drop down, he's still not webbed, but he is taking damage. It looks like he's got some armor bots on him repairing, but it's probably not going to be enough. I'm really a big fan of the Maledictions as tackle in a tournament format. They're really fast. We've upgraded them a lot when they got their rebalance, and they are really hard to kill. Resistance bonus with remote reps means they're surviving through a lot of damage.
Yeah, exactly. And just the missile application, they do a fair bit of damage for a T1 frigate. And you can also see, not T1 frigate, sorry.
There, a interceptor, yeah.
But you can see here the Hyena taking damage, but catching reps as well. They're really not damping out this Oneros for Incursion Network effectively enough. He's able to apply reps wherever he needs, and with the Oneros down for Ryo Chaos, they're going to have a hard time here.
Yeah, and I mean, he's positioning himself very well. He's managing to stay close enough to his team that he can lock them, but he's also at least 20 kilometers away from any opposing player. This is actually really good piloting by Krador there in the Incursion Shiny Network and Eros. Incursions, of course, are one of the really great ways that a player can get to know logistics piloting and learn how to be a good logi pilot outside of PvP. And it's quite possible that he has experience both in PvP and PvE that he's applying to this.
Yeah, exactly. In an Incursion, if you're flying your logistically properly, you can just get snapped in half at some point. Also, you have to catch reps so quickly.
Yeah.
And you can see here, he's catching reps on everyone. He's really carrying the match here. They just weren't able to effectively apply any pressure to him, even with the damps, all the damps they would have on field there, including a Mollis and damps on the Ishtar, damps
and on the Heron as well. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a whitewash here. Incursion Shiny Network continuing to surprise us. They were a little bit shaky last year in the first New Eden Open, which is their first tournament performance. But coming back here, they've been extremely strong. They brought a really, really strong Mimitar Rush with the Gnosis yesterday, and then this is a completely different setup, so it shows they've got a lot of flexibility. We do have one Malediction down, but that's not going to be nearly enough as we see the Ishtar for Parental Advisory dropping down. Very soon they're just going to have the Navy Dominics and the EOS. What do you think about the Navy Dominics choice here? That we saw it a bit in the last Alliance tournament. Are you a fan of it?
No, so the thing is the Navy Dominics doesn't really have the damage application of a regular Dominant. Its bonuses don't really mesh as well into the same role. It basically it costs more points, and it does everything just not quite as good. It does have a ton of blaster damage, which you don't typically see on the Dominics, but you're really not applying, you don't want your Navy Dominics right in somebody's face. That's not really where you want to be applying your damage with it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great gank ship. It does a ton of damage, but what makes the Dominic so good in the tournament format is the ability to hit far and hit small targets really effectively.
Exactly.
And that's just not something the Navy Dominics can keep up with. And now the Hyena for Incursion Shiny Network taking fire, but again, not really in any danger. That Aneros is keeping his frigates up very, very admirably. And it's just now a matter of time. The Navy Dominics is going to be dropping down, and this is going to be a second win in a row for Incursion Incursion Shiny Network, who I think, like I had them pegged to lose their first match. I was kind of surprised when they won that, and here they are. They're going to be going with a perfect record into the second weekend.
Well, you can see here that the tank on the Dominix is so strong. It's local repping. Either that or it has a significant number of armor bots on it, but it's holding quite well even against the entire DPS of the Incursion 90 Network team. But with no support, it can't catch anything to apply its blast or damage. It can't really dictate its targets well, and it's sort of just a dead boot.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to go down slowly, but it is going to go down. And one way or another, they're just not applying enough damage to hit anything very effectively. Neither the Dominix nor the EOS have a sentry drone application bonus, and so these sentry drones that they've got out just aren't actually going to hit any of the frigates they're trying to take down, and there's too much buffer on the larger ships.
Yeah, especially on these light quick Ishtars, they're much faster, able to maneuver much better. You're not going to catch any of those unless you have the Punishers. Yeah, only really the Punisher is able to run them down and catch them here, and actually hold them for an extended period of time. But under the sentry damage of an Ishtar, it's not going to last long. Ishtar is potentially having newts and stuff like that to shut down the tackle. It's just a really hard team to manage, and especially when you bring a team like what Parental Advisory has brought, not a particularly strong support wing to catch and hold things down. So you sort of are in just a terrible spot in terms of catching what you need to catch.
Yeah, I'm a pretty big fan of this ISN setup. I mean, the EOS is providing gang links that are a module that boosts your entire gang, your entire fleet. So the entire team is getting bonuses from that. The Anurus is providing the remote reps, the healing that keeps the rest of the team alive. 2 Ishtars to apply a lot of the damage along with the EOS damage. And then you got the Hyena in there, which is great for hitting small targets with your sentry drones, because the Hyena has a bonus both to webbing and also to target painting, which essentially makes small targets a lot easier to hit. That is a great combo to have when you're going to be using sentry drones, because it allows them to hit small targets and moving targets much more effectively.
Exactly. The Hyena, one of those ships that we don't really see that often on Tranquility, but is so much stronger in the tournament format. When you know that nothing's going to warp away, you know you can provide some level of protection for it with your support wing. And we see as the Navy Dominix goes down for per C, you just sort of have so much more range in what you can do, and know that you're going to fit into a fleet rather than being a Hyena on Tranquility, where you need a very specific size gang.
Yeah.
You need all these sorts of variables to line up just right for it to be as useful as it would be here.
Yeah, the electronic attack frigate class that Hyenas belong to are definitely more popular in small gang situations where using the mobility is something that's very valuable, where you want to have a more expensive than a Tech 1 frigate, but faster than a recon ship or a Tech 1 cruiser platform to apply your E-War, and that actually matches with the tournament very well. They're quite cheap on points, they're pretty easy to actually keep alive thanks to their small signature, and they can apply really, really strong electronic warfare, in this case webbing and target painting.
Well, but keep in mind, they're not that cheap on points. They're 6 points. They're 2 stealth bombers. Like they're just so useful in the setting. You bring so much utility with them for what is a frigate hull. Like you're only spending 6 points in comparison to spending money on a recon or all these sorts of things. You just end up having a lot more utility that you can spend on the other ships in the team.
Yep, and as we're seeing now that Malediction firing its rockets into the EOS, that EOS is going into low armor. He'll be dropping to structure and off the field in just a moment, and that'll be Incursion Shiny Network moving on over Parental Advisory. Now, because this is a winner's bracket match, Parental Advisory is not out of the tournament from this. This just knocks them down to the loser's bracket, and they will face their first elimination match next weekend. So
they at least survive till next Saturday. That's Incursion Shiny Network taking their first win of the day, and surprising us all once again. Well, surprising me. We'll see you back in the studio in just a couple seconds.